So I essentially equate my business to an affair because I became more that. An affair could be someone with a drug addiction or a gambling addiction, or, there could be all these things. But essentially, if there's something else that's pulling you out of your marriage or coming in between you and your partner, I believe that you should be, number one, become self-aware, become honest with yourself. I mean, I knew it was happening, but I just didn't want to fight. I didn't want to fight with him. I didn't want to fight for the marriage. And there was all these things. So I think truly believing what you want and understanding that you're going to fight for your marriage or the relationship, no matter who it is with. So my advice would be, first and foremost, to pause, take a step back, review the situation, and take ownership. Take ownership of how you show up. Take ownership of how you're contributing. Take ownership to maybe where you failed. And then take ownership of what you truly want.
Welcome to Her Unshakeable Confidence with dynamic mother-daughter duo Simone and Olivia Knego, where they discuss the secrets of transformation and how to build bold confidence and unwavering resilience. From intimate conversations with inspiring guests to sharing their personal journeys of triumph and challenge, Simone and Olivia create a supportive space where every woman is encouraged to rise above her fears and love the woman in the mirror. Tune into Her Unshakeable Confidence and join this special journey of connection and growth. It's like catching up with old friends who inspire you to be bravely and uniquely you.
Welcome to this week's episode of Her Unshakeable Confidence. I'm Simone Knego.
And I'm Olivia Knego.
And today we have an amazing guest, Jenny Townsend. So I know Jenny from, so many places, but everything to do with women. She's got an amazing place in town called the Music Compound, which we'll talk about. But she also wrote a book. Has it been a year?
It'll be a year. Yeah, April.
Wow. I mean, time flies. So we're going to talk about all the things, but I want to just jump in and start with, because we're talking about confidence. What advice do you have for a woman who's maybe struggling with confidence or doesn't know where to start? What's something that you do or something that works for you?
So I always look within, and I think it just boils down to my upbringing of my parents making me feel like I was good enough and amazing and all the things, even though maybe they really didn't think that. I was not the best student growing up, but they always made me feel that I could be the president of the United States, or I could do anything I absolutely wanted if I put my mind to it. So when I think of confidence, it's believing in myself, going for what I believe or what I want, knowing that I may not always know how I'm going to get there. I think that has been part of my success with confidence. And I think throughout the journey of life, I've had really great confidence at times, and I've lacked confidence at others. Just in the past couple of years, confidence to me has been just being really comfortable in my skin and my environment with who I am. And that has been new for me, just being content.
Thank you for that. And I think that's really helpful, because I think a lot of people are not comfortable in their skin, right? They struggle to believe in themselves. And I think the more we hear other women say what they're working on, I think the more it helps women in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're all in this together.
We are all in this together. So Olivia was texting me right before this. She's like, okay, why do I know Music Compound? And I was like saying, because, I was trying to explain it to her. And she was like, I think I've actually been there.
I don't know why I would have been there, though.
We have a lot of events, and we have a lot of kids. I mean, we have over 400 members that come to on a weekly basis. And a lot of people think, oh, they just cater to children. But we cater to all ages. So we actually just did a U2 concert this past weekend. We have another one coming up as well, where it's students and then adults of, children of all ages is what I typically say. So yeah, we do music education on the Gulf Coast, and we're in our 10th year of business. We've been recognized as Women-Owned Business of the Year, Small Business of the Year. We just won Best Music School in the country. So I'll be actually traveling to King
Wow.
about a couple of weeks.
Oh, that's awesome.
That award and talk to business.
That's fantastic.
On the journey, part of the.
Do you have a background in music?
So I do not. I actually just took my first music lesson a couple of years ago. So
wow.
Lori,
okay.
I did take choir when I was in high school, but that's because I got kicked out of Spanish class, and the only elective available was choir. I'm not a very good singer. So yeah, I just took a ukulele classes a couple years ago. I wrote a song 2 years ago. And yeah, we'll see if I learn anything in the future. Right now, I'm pretty much playing the keyboard of my computer, making things happen because I am the business side of the business.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. Like when you hear that, though, you don't have to have a background in something if you really want to do it, right? You just make it happen. And I think
100%. Yeah, a lot of people think I have an education background or a music background or I have all these children, and I do not. So, which has been fun. And I'll tell you, speaking of confidence, a lot of people, when I was getting this started and talking about doing it, they're like, that's never going to happen. You don't have a music degree. You don't have an education degree. You're not a parent. You're not all these things. And I was like, I'm still going to do this. So there was a lot of no's and a lot of people saying that I wasn't going to be able to do it. So it's kind of cool 10 years down the road that I'm celebrating so many things that many people thought were not possible.
And I think it is a reminder of that. I never understand when people say things to bring you down. And what I've realized, it's typically about that person, right? It's something they can't see themselves in that role. So therefore you can't do it either. And it's absolutely the wrong way to look at it. When someone tells me the amazing things they want to do, I'm like, yes, you should go for it. Instead of, oh no, that's going to fail. I mean, you're not a musician. You're not a teacher. Well, that's ridiculous.
Right. Well, I didn't know what the rules were. I didn't know how everybody else did it. I just knew how I wanted it to play out and how I wanted the company to be and the skills and the programs that I wanted incorporated into it. And a lot of things that we do, we focus on life skills. So stage presence, confidence, ego boosting, social skills. So a lot of things that are transferable into the future lives of these children. So I grew up doing 4-H, and that's where a lot of those skills came into play. And I think it's a great program. So if anyone out there has children, check out 4-H for sure, because that's where a lot of these skills that came into play. And so, yeah, it's been a great journey. And, they're learning from me. I'm learning from them. So it makes a great marriage.
I love it. And I actually did 4-H when I was a kid. With my horse. Yeah. So it was something I agree that, and I love what you said about the life skills part. So everything we do, it doesn't have to be about that tiny little thing that you're working on. So if you play violin, it's more than just violin, right? It's how you step out into the world. It's how you interact with other people. There's so many more parts to it. So I love that you talk about the life skills part of it, because I think that's so important, especially for kids these days. And adults too.
Yeah. And it's so therapeutic as well. So I feel like music can help people process emotions, feelings. Maybe they're going through something and a song may help them get through that. Even the process of writing a song, that was really helpful for me when I was going through a hard time where I was lacking confidence and I didn't believe in myself. That's when I started journaling and I started writing a song, and I was able to share that. And I was able to process so much emotions and overcome the challenges. And now I look back and I'm like, what a beautiful journey and how far I've came from where I was and those emotions and those feelings. And music can just be so beneficial in so many different ways.
So let's step back to that time that you were really struggling, because you talk about it in your book. I mean, we've talked about it openly, and I'd love to start there and then really talk about the book itself.
Yeah. So I started my company in 2016, happily married, thought I had nothing to risk. I was like, I don't have anything to lose. Let's go all in. And I did. And I truly believe that because of my grit, because of my determination, and because of my focus on making that company successful, the company is where it is today. During that time frame, I was married and I forgot that I was married. And my company became my life, my love, my passion, absolutely everything to me. If a Friday night came, like there was a concert, there was a family birthday party, I chose Music Compound. I chose Music Compound over everything, including my family and my husband. And after several years of that, my husband decided to become really friendly with a coworker, which is super common for affairs in the workplace to happen. And at that time, I knew it was happening. I just couldn't prove it. And quite honestly, I really just didn't care. I was so focused on my business. And I think as business owners, we become obsessed with that mission and that passion, and we see all the good we're doing. I wasn't necessarily being paid financially, like monetarily, but I was being paid in smiles and impact. And to me, that was a dream come true for me. And I was completely content in the relationship that I had with my work. And that led to obviously me discovering my husband was having an affair. And during that time, I became very angry. I became very sad. I started thinking, oh my God, so ugly. I need a boob job. What's wrong with me? And you have all these other people that are singing your praises and you're so amazing and you're living out your dream. You have all of this. But at home, within your relationship, you don't have that. And it was a really, really hard time for me. And at that point, I did point some fingers and I did get really angry, but I didn't want to continue down that road. My parents were both went through the same thing. My mom had an affair and my dad could never forgive her. And I saw my dad, in his 50s and 60s, still angry and holding a grudge. And I said to myself, I don't want to be that. I want to find forgiveness, first and foremost, for myself, because I thought I was to blame for so many things. And anyways, I went through the journey, but I could have sat there and pointed fingers and been really angry for the rest of my life. But I took a step back, decided to take some ownership, take some time away from work, and really started to look within and find out who really was I. I was like, my company was my identity, and I didn't have my own identity, and I didn't have any hobbies. I didn't really know what I wanted to do or what I like to do for fun other than work. So that's really where this whole journey began, was back in 2018. And I can share more through that. But I will say that I am happily married. My husband and I are madly in love in 2025. And I'm so grateful that I decided to take ownership. He did. And for us to work towards finding forgiveness so that we can rebuild our marriage to each other. And it's just been an amazing journey.
What advice would you give someone that is maybe in a similar situation where, and it doesn't have to be someone that has, just their whole business, their life is their whole business, but they're going through a similar thing where they're like, oh my gosh, my marriage is going to end. What do I do? Do I just cut it today, or do I work on it? Is it worth working on?
Yeah, so I would say we all have an affair. So I essentially equate my business to an affair because I became more of that. An affair could be someone with a drug addiction or a gambling addiction, or, there could be all these things. But essentially, if there's something else that's pulling you out of your marriage or coming in between you and your partner, I believe that you should be, number one, become self-aware, become, honest with yourself. I was in denial. I knew it was happening, but I just didn't want to fight. I didn't want to fight with him. I didn't want to fight for the marriage. And there was all these things. So I think truly believing what you want and understanding that you're going to fight for your marriage or the relationship, no matter who it is with. So my advice would be, first and foremost, to pause, take a step back, review the situation, and take ownership. Take ownership of how you show up. Take ownership of how you're contributing. Take ownership to maybe where you failed. And then take ownership of what you truly want. Because sometimes we're in a relationship because it serves everybody else. And I know a lot of parents sometimes stay in a relationship because of the children. And they end up super, super miserable. And they end up living all of these years unhappy. So I would really lean into what is it that you want and take ownership of that. Start speaking up and seek help. A lot of times we're afraid to talk to other people because we're ashamed of what we're going through, or we don't want to be honest with our friends. But when I started talking about this, so many of my friends were going through the same thing, but we never talked about it. So I would say start talking to people about it, start journaling, and really just look within. There's so many beneficial things that you can do once you start looking within and finding out who you are. Your confidence will be boosted. Your self-happiness will be boosted. And you'll start making decisions based on what you truly need and what you truly want.
What would you do differently if you could do it again?
Well, first and foremost, I would have paid myself from day one.
Yes, absolutely.
Secondly, I would have created more balance because, we always I became so obsessed with the company and the success and following that 1-3-5-year plan and that financial goal and getting these many members that I was constantly on. I was on for an entire 3 years. I never took a break. I never took a vacation. So I didn't understand the value of stepping back, stepping out, and working on the business versus in the business. And so I believe now, now that I'm in this 10 years, I truly believe in having balance. So there's days I go to the office. There's days I don't go to the office. I have CEO home days. I make sure that I have a hobby. I'm doing things for myself. I serve myself first and foremost every single morning. So that's waking up and snuggling with my husband, doing a walk, playing tennis. I go do me before I do anything else. Then I go and get the work done. And I found that instead of working 60, 70 hours, I can get the same amount of work done, if not more, in maybe 25, 30 hours. So creating a really great balance and structure and making sure to keep my relationship the priority. The money, the business, it will come, it will go, but that relationship is the most important thing to me. And I took that for granted. And my husband did too. We both did. But I think staying true to who you are, what you want. And I want to be married. I want to love my husband. I want my husband to love me. And that's really the guiding force for everything that I do at this point.
I think what you said about a big part of the loving someone else is kind of loving yourself first, right? And if you're not giving yourself space to grow, or you're not taking care of yourself, you're not loving yourself. So it makes it much harder to be in the game to love someone else.
Yeah, 100%. I will say that I have more energy, more time, more for me, and that gives me the ability to give to others. And before, I mean, I was struggling, I was depleted, I was tired, and I'm a better leader. I'm a better business owner as well. And this situation back in 2018 pulled me out of my business the next day. And I had to leave my business in the hands of team members that I trusted, that I knew were capable, but I was so micromanaging and so overbearing. I was preventing the company from actually growing and soaring. So these individuals basically took the company from red to black. They took it from old school to new school. That wouldn't have happened if I would have been there. So it was a great reminder for CEOs, business owners, that it's okay to step out and to trust your team. And I have been able to trust a lot of individuals. I've been able to delegate. And basically, I worked myself out of a job through that process because I allowed the people that I hired to do their jobs.
I think that is a really important message for a lot of business owners to hear, because when you picture big corporations, you never think of the CEO actually doing all that much. But when it comes to small businesses, you think of the CEO as someone that's working 24/7. And you don't have to be. You hire these people for a reason. They're capable of doing their jobs, and they're capable of helping out in areas where you need grace.
100%. And, that boosted their confidence. So as a team, I was, leading these people, but at the same time, I was always over their shoulder where I was making them second guess their decisions. So when I was not there, they were able to make decisions confidently and move forward. And they felt proud of themselves and they felt empowered. And there was so much greatness that came out of that, where not only was I working on myself and my confidence, they were growing as individuals within the company and for themselves personally as well.
So I want to take this story back into your book. So I'd love to talk about your book. First of all, the title.
Yes.
And the title of your podcast, right? I love all of it. So let's start there.
Yeah. So the origination story of the book was when my husband and I were talking about how and why and all the things. Basically, some of the things that he had said was, well, she listened to me. She was present. She validated me. And he continued. And then my response to him was, oh, so she stroked you mentally, emotionally, and physically. So that is where the whole stroke it me came about. And when I was journaling, I was thinking about my previous bosses and how they stroked me and how I stroked them. And then I was like, wait a minute, this is really great for leadership. And then obviously I need to learn how to stroke my husband more, and then my family members. So that's really this whole journal process led to the book, where each chapter features a different stakeholder within our lives. So first and foremost, chapter 1 is all about you. It's the longest chapter because, going back to what you just said, we need to feel fulfilled. We have to love ourselves before we can love anyone else. We have to be happy before we can be happy for other people. And the second chapter goes into stroking your partner. So showing gratitude, being present, showing appreciation, talking about the love languages, doing the unexpected. And then it goes into employee and employer, which we don't want to stroke them literally. Please do not.
Please.
Please do not. But it talks about appreciation and, understanding, do your employees, when they do a great job, do they want a party? Do they want public praise? Do they just want a thank you note? With understanding the love languages as well, I had two managers, and one manager, her love language was gifts and the other one was quality time. So if I were to say, hey, I have $20, one would want it because she was going to go hiking and the other wanted to go have breakfast. So understanding their love languages and how those play into roles within your company. And then there's, getting to know me forms that I have within the book. And that's when we hire someone, we have them fill out a get to know me form. I want to know what their coffee is. I want to know what they drink. They do something spectacular or unexpected, or they do me a favor. I want to show up the next day with that coffee order or with their favorite snack. And so it goes through those. And then we talk about friends and family. And if you are a friend out there and maybe you feel like maybe a friend doesn't care for you, I want to encourage you to reach out to that friend. That friend is most likely going through something that they don't feel confident enough to share with you right now, or they're ashamed. So I always say, pick up the phone, make the first move, because your friend may be waiting for someone else to call and they may need you. And then, of course, the last chapter, since everyone thinks it's about sex, it's, stroking it in the bedroom. That it is PG. It was rated R. And my book coach said, oh, no, your parents, your in-laws and your employees are going to read this. So it is PG. So it just talks about being intimate and having fun in the bedroom. And, that is where David and I were able to make a lot of moves. And it talks about like scheduling sex dates and intimacy and lots of things that our therapist encouraged us to do. And a time that was super hard. We did not want to be intimate. We didn't love each other. We were just like on the verge of getting divorced. So there's a lot of tips and tools within that chapter that will help with rekindling your love and your passion with your partner.
What did he think about you writing this book?
So that was a big struggle for him. The whole journey has been a complete struggle for both of us. I was able to overcome it much faster than him. First and foremost, you would think it would be the opposite way. But like I said, because we were taking ownership and because I was journaling and I focused on I always say from discovery to recovery, I focused on my recovery and I really made that my priority in life and through the past few years. So it was really hard for him because before I had shared the story and I had shared what happened with some of my closest friends and families, but I never went publicly socially online. So there was always this question of who knows and who doesn't know. So now everybody knows, just assume everybody knows. And we have had so many people walk up to the both of us and say, thank you for sharing your story. And even though he hasn't really actually shared the story in any capacity, he's part of the book and he's part of the story. It's helped so many people. And I think him seeing that impact. Plus, the affair was the inspiration of the book, but that's not what I talk about throughout the book. Really, it's about relationships and it's about creating really solid, intimate, trustworthy relationships and how to get people feel appreciated to where they essentially want to do more and want to be part of whatever you're doing. Not that you're manipulating them, but there's more buy-in and there's more connection and there's more of a community as well. So yeah, I mean, he was at the book launch parties and he's been supportive. He actually doesn't even have a book yet. He ordered one and then I needed to give it to somebody else. So I don't think he's entirely read the entire book. But at the end of the day, once his parents approved that they were okay with it, I think he became okay with it.
Yeah.
His parents didn't know what the book was about. And his mom's like, I'm going to order all these books and I'm going to order all these books. And then he had to like sit down and speak with them about it. Because when it all happened, they were very ashamed. They were very like, slide it under the rug. We're not going to talk about this. And so, years later, they were faced with it again. But I think at that point, we were all ready to deal with it. And because of the way that everything was phrased in the book and the recovery story and the love and the passion that we have now, that's what people see there. I mean, so it's still, I think it's still hard for him. Trying to find forgiveness for someone is hard. And then once you finally forgive them, unless your actions say that, they don't really believe it. Because there was some time where I was still struggling, even though I said, I forgive you. And I truly did, but I was still angry and I still made digs and I still would drop things. And those are not actions that you can do if you're going to forgive someone. Like if you're going to forgive someone, you have to fully like let that be in the past and move forward. And that is really hard and challenging to do, but it can be done.
How did you do it, I guess? And I listened to your story, and it's one of those things that I sit here and I think, I don't know if I could do that.
And most people think that. Most people, there was a lot of judgment. There's a lot of shame. I actually had someone come up to me after and say, I'm so sorry that I judged you. You're such a powerful woman. I couldn't believe that you stayed or you stood for that. And she apologized. And she apologized because she then went through the same thing and she couldn't understand until she was in my shoes. And at the end of the day, I remembered why I fell in love with my husband. I remembered the qualities and I knew that he was still that man, but we just got lost and we both drifted apart. We weren't actively working on ourselves. We weren't actively working on our marriage. We weren't talking about future goals. We weren't talking about where we were going to travel. I mean, we were basically just on hamster wheels and separate cages, basically, even though we were living in the same house. So once again, I really think truly the reason we are here today is because we both took ownership. We both apologized. We both were committed to making it work. And we both trusted in the future. I 100% trust my husband. I don't doubt like anything at all. There was times, there was like years that we would drive through Tampa where this all kind of went down. And I would have a lot of anxiety and we bought a business up there. So there was a little time where I'm like, ooh, what if he gets weak? What if he texts? What if he stops by? And so, but I had to trust him fully because I made a commitment to him to give him 100% of me and he gave me 100% of him. So through time, I believe that everything can be healed. And there's people that say that time doesn't heal certain wounds, but I do believe in time, taking ownership, doing the work, and creating a commitment, but creating the time together where you can rebuild and travel. We travel a lot now. We never traveled before. And we travel a lot and having the balance where I'm home. I think that's most important. It's just being home, being present with the person you're married to.
Yeah. How did you gain the confidence to even tell the first friend? And then how did you gain the confidence to even write a book about it? Because it is such a taboo subject. People are embarrassed or ashamed when it's like, you make it seem so not like that.
Yeah. So I was quiet for about 2 to 3 weeks after it happened. I didn't tell my mom. I didn't tell anyone. I was like secretly struggling silently at my house and falling apart. And the first people I told were my 2 managers at my office because I said, hey, I got to step out. I can't be here. Emotionally, I just couldn't do it. I was also like driving a van, driving kids around, and like I left a school and I forgot a kid and I had to go back. And at that point, I just knew that I couldn't work anymore. And then because my parents had went through this, I spoke to a couple of my parents' friends that were around during that time frame and that had actually experienced this as well. And they gave me some advice. And then one of those individuals actually told a couple of my family members. So I wasn't able to tell them, but I told my dad, and his advice was, don't let the anger take over you, because once the anger takes over, you won't be able to rebound from it. And I really took that to heart, and I never let that anger take over me where I couldn't find love again for my husband. So I would say it was really hard. And then I started just talking with my parents about it, and then a couple of my friends. And, it's kind of scary because we've all broken up with someone and got back together. And like, of course you go and you talk about that person and then your friends are like, oh, I don't like him. I can't believe you're at it. And you go through that.
Yeah.
And then now you're married and you're going through all this. So, so it was a very scary time. So you have to become very vulnerable. You have to be open to people judging you. You have to let things go in one ear and out the other. And I would say the most important thing is to speak to people that have been in your shoes before. Because those are the individuals that had made it through it and had beautiful marriages and could speak from experience. The people that have not been in your shoes don't know the best advice because they've never been there. And I equate this to even people that have cancer. Like, my mother-in-law, like, I could never understand when she said she wasn't thirsty or she couldn't eat because I had never been in her shoes before. And same thing with every other thing that people, I'm not a mom. I can't understand things that moms go through because I've never been a mom. And you have to respect that. So I would say lean in and talk to the people that have been in your shoes before. And that's even goes down to business. Like, go talk to CEOs. If you want to know how to run a really successful business, if you want to be a really great mom, go and talk to moms. You want to be happy, go and hang out where happy people are hanging out. So I think that there's just so much that goes into it. But at the end of the day, I've always been a confident person for the most part. And I've always owned my beliefs, and I've always done everything the way that I've wanted to do it. And I think talking about it really helps. And you're going to see you're not alone.
Do you feel like your relationship is stronger now than even when you first got married?
100%. 100%. I mean, the love that we have and the connection we have is so much greater. When you lose something, you then know what you've got to lose. Mm-hmm. And when you get it back, you're never going to let it go, especially if it's something that you truly, truly love and truly, truly want. And so I feel that we got married. I mean, we got married in our early 30s, and we never had children, never wanted children. So really, work was the only thing that we really did, and we didn't have hobbies together. And we really didn't have a game plan. We're just like, okay, we dated, let's get married, let's buy a house. Okay. So now we are connected. We make our marriage a priority. We make spending time together a priority. We make plans, we travel, we are creating hobbies together. So I can't explain it, but we are just so much more in love and connected. And there are a lot of times I'm really grateful for what happened, especially when I think of like the personal side and the business side of my life. I'm in just such a great place now, and horrible things have happened, and I went through hell, and I was embarrassed, and I was ashamed, and I was judged, and I was a lot of things. But the woman that I am today is the most loving, caring, honest, vulnerable person that she ever was. And it's because of that journey. And I have an amazing team within my company and people that genuinely care about my company the way that I did at one point. So, I truly just believe I'm where I'm supposed to be, and I'm really happy to be here. And, there was a time I wanted to, put that girl's face on billboards in Tampa as a homewrecker. And now there's a part of me that's like really grateful for her, because she made me see what's really, really important. And that's being home, being with family, being with my husband, and not working all the time.
If I can ask.
Oh, no, you go. I was just going to say that I think that's such a beautiful message that, at least, I mean, I can't like personally relate to the story, but I take so much away from that being like, things do get better. Even your darkest moments, things do get better.
They really do, and they can. But it is based on mindset and actions and a lot of internal work.
Yeah, it's definitely putting in the work. Now, this is just because I'm curious.
Okay.
Did you ever have the opportunity to confront her? And would you have if you were able to?
Yeah. So my husband allowed one call, and I was allowed 3 questions. Not that she was being honest, but one of the questions I did ask her is, are you in love with my husband? And she said yes. And at that point, I knew the relationships was much more than what my husband had told me it was. And he had planned on leaving me for her. And that's really hard to hear.
Yeah.
Really, really hard to hear. At that point, you're like, there's no way we're coming back from this. So I did, but, and then I tried calling her after, but I was a little psycho. I definitely sent out an email to the entire company with her picture on it, on a Canva flyer from an email address I made on her behalf about her being a homewrecker. And I did some other things as well. So, I was going to put her picture in my book, but then I was like, why am I going to give her that platform?
Yeah.
And I was like way past that. That was like at the very beginning. So, she's in the past. And I mean, her name is my sister's name, and she was my assistant's name. And for years, every time I heard that name, I would have a trigger. And that's another thing too, is like working through the triggers can be super hard. And, this happened 6-7 years ago. I still have triggers. Like even just right now, like me talking about that specific moment of me sending that email.
Yeah.
Going back to that moment of like hate and anger, that triggers me. But do I go back to that mentality for very long? I don't. And a lot of times it comes because my husband always said to me, think about how much I love you today. Think of where we are today. Can we please just focus on the future? And the past is the past. He can't do anything to change it. I can't do anything to change it. All we can do is move forward and focus on our future. And that's really been a guiding light for both of us.
I know that was like a hard question that I just asked you, but I think to me that makes this story even stronger because there's a lot behind it, right? I mean, that being able to ask someone 3 questions about their experience with your husband had to be the hardest thing that you could ever do. And then being able to take that and then completely transform your relationship, that to me is so impressive.
Yeah.
Right. I will say it was very hard. It was very, very hard. Like this took years to get here. And there was a lot of times where, you know, I was half like, you know, it was end of 2019 and I was still wondering what I was going to do. And we had like, you know, been living downtown and, you know, we separated. So I had some fun and that kind of makes it easier and better and a little bit way to get over it as well.
How do you keep, I mean, but this is addressed to you, Mom, because both of you are married. What are practical tips for listeners that they can, I guess, not even keep the spark, just make sure you're giving your significant other or any other relationship in your life the right attention?
So that's a really great question. Sometimes it's really hard, right? I mean, we have so many things going on all the time, but it is about even taking the 5 minutes, right? I mean, your dad will come in after being at work until 10 o'clock at night and he walks in and I'm like, I'm working, I'm doing something. But if I don't acknowledge him, like the man's working to put food on the table, to take care of all of us. And so it's ridiculous if I just sit there and be like, hey, what's up? Like, give him some attention, right? Do something. And we speak completely different love languages. He is touch. I am words of affirmation and understanding that, okay, because I don't want a hug right now, he does, and give him the hug, right? I mean, it's really understanding that it's not just about me. It's not about me, right? It's about how do we work together. It took me a long time. I mean, April next month, it's almost April. This will be past that. We'll have been married 32 years, right? That's a long time. And right?
That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's something that I'm really proud of because there were times where it was very difficult, right? But it took the working together on things and understanding that it's not about me or it's not about him. It's about how we work together.
Yeah, I think that and catering to their needs as well is super important. And I don't mean just like doing their laundry or always cleaning and all the things, but like for years I didn't know personal touch was my husband's love language. Mm-hmm. So, you know, holding his hand and snuggling with him, you know, we were sitting on the couch. He was on one end, I was on the other end. I was on my phone, he was watching TV for years. I thought, hey, quality time, you know, like we're in the same house, we're on the same couch. And what he needed was that personal touch. And so, you know, I spend a lot of time snuggling with him. If I'm on the couch, I want to make sure I'm touching him. And he was always touching me, but I was like asking him to massage me, but that's not really what he wanted to be doing. Yeah. He wanted me to be showing him love and affection. And knowing that his love language is personal touch has been a game changer for us. And I think a lot of that goes into our upbringing as well. So for me, my parents showed us love by putting food on the table, a roof over our head. You know, my parents did not give us affection. They did not tell us they loved us. They did not read us bedtime stories. He came from a house where his mom was a teacher, so she always read him bedtime stories. She always said they loved. Like when we first started dating, they were all like, "Oh, I love you," and I was like, "Oh my God, tell your parents to stop telling me they love me. This is weird." So, you know, we just grew up very differently, and how we were shown love and how we showed love was very different. So we've had to learn how to love each other based on our needs, and that has been a game changer as well.
I mentioned hobbies that you can have as a couple. What do you guys do together?
Well, first and foremost, we go for a walk almost every single morning. During that time frame, we find it super important. It's really uplifting. We kind of share what we're doing. We don't take our phones, so it's completely we're present with each other, whether we're holding hands or just talking. We'll go to the hill a couple days a week as well. We bought golf clubs, so we've started golfing together. I play tennis, so I kind of do my own thing. He's still working on his things. It's like kids, or the parents are always trying to find their thing, the activity. He's trying to find his activity. So, walking, and then we make a priority to go to the beach once a week and walk or just spend time outside. And since we don't have children, we have like date night every single night. So there's a lot of quality time. I have had to just set boundaries with my work schedule so that I'm home so many days, or I can't commit to going out all the time with my girlfriends and having happy hour, or I can't attend every business function that I want to. That's at nighttime, because I do make being at home a priority now. So, just being present.
I think you're doing a better job than I am. So I'm still on the couch. I like my little spot, right?
Yeah, but that's you guys' hobby.
Yeah. Well, we do. We hang out and like watch TV shows and that kind of stuff. But he would prefer if I sit like right next to him, and I'm like, oh, but I'm in my comfy spot. And, okay, sometimes I move down and
yeah. What's your trick for agreeing on the same show? Do you guys like the same type of TV and movies? Because we do not.
Yeah, we typically do.
Well, that's a good one.
Yeah. So, and honestly, we don't even have TV anymore. So we just watch whatever's on like Netflix or Amazon Prime or something.
You guys both watch everything though.
Yeah, we do. We're like, oh, let's try it. Why not? It's not like I have a certain genre that I need to watch or anything like that. So, yeah, so that's, but I do know, like when I'm sitting on the couch, I'm like so tired sitting in I'm like Archie Bunker. Like I have my part that I like to sit on. I like my chair. And he loves his part of the couch where he like lays there and it's the most comfortable thing ever. And he's like, come sit here. I'm like, why don't you come sit here? So it's like this back and forth banter of like, you can move. Oh, you can move too. So,
maybe just got to split up the days, like
right.
Thursdays and Sundays you get your days and he gets the other days. But it is important, like that connection as well. But I'm with you. There's times where I just want to snuggle under my blanket. So, compromising. Marriage is a lot about compromising and leaning in. And once, as you said, Simone, it's not all about me. It's sometimes got to be about them.
Yeah.
That is the hardest thing that I have done. And I've lived with my boyfriend now. We've been together for 3 years, but we've been living together for a little bit more than 6 months, maybe 8 months. I honestly don't know. The hardest part is that like, it's not all about me. And in college, we were long distance, and that was great for college because we got to have our own like college experiences while still being together. And I got to hang out with my girlfriends all the time. But like, now that I'm here, the first couple months were definitely like a transition of like, I have to build time in for my weekends for you. And it's not just like the same as it was with your roommates. It's like, oh, you're both home from class. Let's watch a movie. That's how we hang out. Like it has to be way more intentional than that.
100%. That's good that you're learning that at a younger age and while you're dating.
Yeah.
You're ahead of the game.
We are pretty great about honesty, I will say.
And I think that's key too. Like saying to your partner, I need this. I want this. Like I always said, why didn't you just come out and say you were thinking about hooking up with a coworker? I would have woken up before you did it. But obviously you can't go in the past. But sometimes we just are afraid to say what we mean or what we want, or we're just afraid to be honest with the partner. And so many things could be prevented if we were just honest with ourselves and with our partners.
Absolutely. Liv, you got your question? You got your calendar?
Well, yes, I have both.
Okay, good.
What is the best advice? Wait, what is it? Okay. What's the best advice a woman in your life ever gave you? I didn't know if we got rid of the woman part.
I was like,
scared that we did it.
We asked.
I got really worried.
Are you okay? Oh, you?
No, I'm okay.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're okay.
So I think my mother was trying to give me good advice, but I didn't really fully understand it. And I don't really know where she was going with this, but she always said, take care of your man. Take care of your man. And I was like, oh, I am taking care of my man. I'm making him smoothies. I'm making him breakfast. I'm doing all these things. But I obviously didn't know what she meant when she was like, take care of your man, like in the bedroom. And so that would be like probably the best advice is like, just take care of your partner and all different facets, and not just in the bedroom, but in all areas as well. So that would be one thing as far as advice. When it comes to confidence, my parents, I don't know, they always just pushed me and believed in me and told me I could do anything, to where I feel like I can.
I love that. Okay, Liv, what's your calendar say today? So she reads from the calendar called the Unf Yourself calendar, and we see if there's some connection with what we talked about today.
Personal expansion lives outside of what you believe.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that does connect, right?
Yeah.
You know,
I definitely believe in that for sure.
Huh. Okay, that's a good one for today.
This was a really great episode because I feel like I have a very new perspective about relationships and marriage. And, you know, when you see marriages as a kid, even like as a teenager, you still think they're easy. And then you get into your first relationship and then you're like, okay, it's not as easy as everyone says. But hearing it from you guys, you show it in a way that it is a second job, in a job that you actually want to be doing. So you should act like you actually want to be doing it.
Oh, look at you.
Yes. And it changes, just like we change from year after year. Like the relationship, the needs, and the way that it grows changes as well. And I think most people say like marriages will fall apart in year 6 or 7, you know, and then year 20 once all the kids are out of the house as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just being cautious and staying true to why you got married. And I talk with people all this who are going through divorce. I have a lot of friends that are getting divorced right now, or they're having affairs and they're doing all the things to exit their marriage. And I always just tell them, think about the beginning, like lean into that and find a picture from your wedding and try to relive that. Because if you can get back to and remember the person that you married, you may be able to make this marriage work again. And I always want to encourage everyone to try to make amends before you throw in the towel. And once again, that's going to start with you taking a lot of ownership of how you show up in your marriage and for yourself and for your family.
Very true. Thank you so much. This was a great episode. Really loved talking to you. Where can people find you?
So you just go to my website, Jenny Allday with 1 L, Townsend.com. So JennyAllDayTownsend.com. I'm on all the social platforms as well. And if you're local in the Sarasota, Manatee, Lakewood Ranch area, you can come to Music Compound and check out a show.
Awesome. And we will have everything about it in the show notes. So we're doing something new, and we're going to leave you with a confidence tip of the day. I guess of the week, since we do this once a week. But okay, here's today's tip. Take action before you feel ready. Confidence isn't something you wait for. It's something you build by doing. The more you step outside your comfort zone, the more proof you give yourself that you can handle challenges. Even small wins create momentum. So say yes, speak up, take the leap. Your confidence will catch up. Always remember, you are unshakable. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Her Unshakeable Confidence with Simone and Olivia Knego. We hope this episode has made your day just a little bit brighter and given you the inspiration you need to confidently go about your week. Always remember to be authentically you. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. And feel free to connect with them on Instagram at Simone Knego and at Olivia Knego. Till next time.